Hello. 21,454 or 5 days. Today, when you're seeing this video, it's deliberately set at 3 p.m. local time. A sort of celebration that will run to 3 p.m. the following day, because I really don't know which of the 2 days, the 21st or the 22nd, is the born day of this physical avatar. Nothing to do with the age of I within. Don't get me wrong, this is not to get comments of happy birthday, happy birthday. Why would I want a reminder that I'm one day, one step closer to something that is inevitable? It just depends where you want to exit to. So, 21,254 shars, or days, or turning of the stars. We better put this into more basic language, because some of you won't understand that. 59 years to the day, as far as I can get. It's interesting that this physical being, before I became the driver of it, the last year it celebrated the wrong day, was 55. At 55 again. But anyway, this video is really not for most of the subscribers to this channel, maybe a few that are lurkers or whatever. Because it's interesting, the subscriber numbers and the number of views, it's like completely way out. But I can understand, because I subscribe to some channels and rarely watch things. It's only if something gets my attention or it's something that I'm drawn to watch. We'll come on to that in a little while. Because I had something land on the home screen. I thought, yeah, go on then. But so this video really is to all the Christians out there. Now it says about don't be lukewarm, be either hot or be cold. Does it not? So if you really are a Christian, then surely you should be following the what it says about you should bow down and serve the Jew. So I happen to be one. So come on, it is your birthday. You collect £10 from each player. Just a little joke. Because it's my birthday. We're going to party like it's my birthday, and we don't give an F if it's not your birthday. We're just having a bit of fun. Because I can equally say I'm a heathen, because just on the hill over there, I can't be bothered to go and show you, it's too hot out there now, so I'm sitting in the shade. But there's gorse and there's heather, so it's heathland, so therefore, by definition, I am a heathen as well. But I'm also a pagan, because that just means a country dweller. Well, I dwell in the countryside. I'm also a Jehovah's Witness. Of course, that's going to sound really confusing, but it's just the perspective you're coming from in the way you hear the words. It's quite funny, really. There's also a Yahweh inside here as well. And like many of the chosen, I also happen to be a member of a secret society. I have spoke a little bit about this in the previous video. I wonder how many of you have even had invites to join certain secret societies and have completely been oblivious to the invitation, not seen what's in front of you. Whenever secret societies are mentioned, it's always straight away. And why do you think it is pushed that way? To consider just that they're malevolent, scheming, and such like. But we're in a realm of duality. There's a far greater number of secret societies that are actually positive. I know that because I'm in one. Unlike the negative polarity, the positive polarity are far more subtle. And there's always a yin and yang counterpart to these things. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing at all, but of course, some of the well-known ones, or the names that are known, because the good secret societies are just that, they are not known. They're never mentioned. This is probably the closest that they ever have been mentioned, and I'm not saying any more about it, because otherwise it wouldn't be a secret, would it? Here's a little test for you. This video that landed in my lap, I'll put a link in the description. I can't remember the channel name. But basically the question is, if you were a prisoner of war in the Second World War, maybe been in a camp for 5 years, conditions aren't that great, you're sitting there vegetating, basically sitting it out, and you're given an offer. You can join the Waffen-SS. You can get paid, equal pay. You won't ever have to fight against your kinsmen, those of the UK. You'll only be employed on the Eastern Front. And the question was, would you have done it? Would you have become a volunteer? What a loaded question that is, and how can you really answer that anyway, as such? Because it presupposes too many things. It's so easy with hindsight. So if I was to take the position now with the knowledge and experience and things, I could answer that in a very, very different way. But it would depend on what knowledge you had in that life experience as to whether you could answer that. But the question is actually relevant today, because stories replay may not be quite the same play with the same costumes and set in the same setting. But effectively what you've got there in that question is an invitation to pick a side. But what if you recognize that whichever side you pick, you're being played as a pawn in a deadly game of chess, effectively? Can I offer you evidence of this? Well, I will put a link in the description. It's a channel called Felton Productions, who specializes in looking into things associated with World War II. So I'll put the link in the description about the Mistress of Reichsführer SS Heinrich Himmler, and why was she protected by the CIA for all those post-war years, the next 4 decades. She did give one interview. That's quite revealing as well. The question also must arise. This is what, 1945. And this character, this, when some would say personification of evil with Heinrich Himmler, is gone. So why is there not the disclosure? Why are some things still kept under wraps that the public can't view to do with this character? Apparently they're going to be released in 2037, which I find interesting. But why? What is in there? Or is it a case of, by the time it's released, oh well, it all happened so long ago, what can we do about it now? Or are those that were orchestrating things then, and the picture that is painted I would also say that Heinrich Himmler is playing a role of Odin or Wotan in the Ring Cycle. Yes, he has power, but he doesn't have total power. It ends with his downfall. One could say partly through his own arrogance. But he was, like Wotan in the Ring Cycle, he is bound by the oath and treaties on his spear. This character in 1945 is bound by a lot of agreements and things he's made that was actually worldwide, an infrastructure. But I invite you to look at that Mark Felton Productions video, and if you so wish to carry on and look into more about the life of this character and the connections he had, if you then come back to that first question, would you have been a volunteer, maybe your answer might be completely different from your immediate reaction answer. Because what also comes into that is an attachment to a nation. I'm British, so I'd be a traitor. I would suggest that the only thing you are would have been a traitor to was the British government, not the British people. I'm not saying whether you should or you shouldn't, because how can I? I'm not in that era. I'm not in those conditions in a POW camp to be able to answer that. The question is loaded. My answer would be, which didn't seem to come through under the video, I don't know why, maybe it's something I said, was based on the knowledge I have now, or seeing the workings of things, that I would pick the right moment and emigrated to the south of France, Spain or Portugal, and not taken part and not picked a side in the first place. Which comes sort of straight back in a way to all those Christians. And it's funny how the army and such like have priests. And isn't there a commandment about thou shalt not kill? It seems a bit of a words and actions don't match there to take part. Because whatever side you pick, you surely have to take responsibility for your actions, because you are now feeding an energy to something that I would say is best to not get involved in. And it is pretty clear that there's a pattern and things are repeating, and there will be these invitations that come up again before too long. But the real questions should be going on inside yourself. If you want to know the real answers. I'll talk about Yahweh, not in the next video, because the next one's I'm going to show you the core of my library. It's just 2 books, effectively. There is more, but those are key fundamentals. And there's a long way home and there's a short way home. Equally will lead you to the same destination. But of course it depends how you hear things and how you see things. So, where are all these Christians? Aren't they supposed to bow down before me if I'm one of the chosen? Because I can claim to be that. I can claim to be a Hebrew. I can claim to be an Amorite. I can claim to be an Israelite as well. And much, much more. Because I recognize a world that can't be seen with the physical eyes, but it can be felt. It can be experienced internally. You know, you've even got a phoenix weapon in the sky inside yourself. This is thanks to Jason Brashears via Dawn Hart. In response to a question on a Q&A video presentation on our KX channel, and I asked, is there evidence of 138 in the human body? Well, there is microRNA 138. And effectively, it is like a control mechanism. It's a weapon that will destroy things inside the body. Harmful things, lumps and growths and things, it will impede their progress. So you do have an internal phoenix. It's microRNA 138. I thought that was very interesting. It's funny as well, but yet it's not funny. You've got the word fun in funeral. I would like, I often have a funeral actually. Because in a funeral, I would say to myself, what pieces of music would I like played? But I'd rather be from the perspective of the living, so I can have my funeral and I can think, well, I haven't heard, say, Bruckner's Lochasiste. So I'll put that one down. I may have the Mistress Singers of Nuremberg. I want to hear that one more time. But it's not an outward egoic display of parading a corpse through the streets. In some ways, I would say it would be far more beneficial to actually see a human in its natural state after the spirit has gone and see the natural destructive processes of the human body, because it will disintegrate in 3 days. But what is it with all this big fuss and this ritual of funerals? It's a fun error all, because it's emoting the most negative things of sadness, but they're highlighted, they're emphasized more than they need to be. It's not about not feeling loss and not feeling sadness. That is part of this reality, but it's blown out of context into almost like a egoic display by the corpse. It's quite a bizarre thing. And really, once your spirit, your true self, has separated from the matter, what really matters? Are you still going to have concerns of you've got a utility bill to pay, or the car needs servicing, or things like that? I doubt very much you would. And that is from a testimony of this physical being that thought its number was up, as it were, having a heart attack, and it really does flash across the mind in a split second. Your life flashes across your mind. What that showed was the potential of what the mind can do, how fast it can really work, or go some way to show that. So was that a bad experience? So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun, some thought-provoking questions, and I do check out the 2 links in the description. As much as anything else, it's a thought exercise on whether you react or respond, whether you are able to weigh things up, whether you are to look at things in ways that you may not have been introduced to before, that don't sit right when you first see them. But as Mark Felton says, something also Jason Brashears says about checking sources. Because what Mark Felton shows looks to be very well researched documentary evidence, first-hand evidence, as much as he can get it, that paints a very different picture of what you have been told is history. I would suggest there are far bigger reasons for what happened during that middle part of the 20th century that is still unfolding today. But why? What is it all really for? That's where I'd be looking. not at the little details as such, but what is all this really for? What am I to gain? What am I to learn from all of this? Anyway, 21,254. Quite a ride. Unlike a man-made vehicle, this one no longer smokes up the hill. There's why. We can laugh about these things. So, oh, it's just incredible. I just had 33 flash up. There was a reason for it. Oh yes, that was it, because of the starting the celebration at 3 p.m. and going on to 3 p.m. Well, let's have some fun with the 33. Ooh, shock horror, that dreadful number again. It's just perspectives. When something is being pushed so much to one side, it's often said, and it's very true, look the other side as well. Cast your nets on the other side is a quote from a character in a story. So, I'll wait for the notifications from all you Christians out there to see if I've had any PayPal donations. I doubt it very much, but I ain't having expectations. It's just another day. I've still got things to water. I've got cats to feed, and life goes on. It's no different from any other day. Every day is a celebration, really. Every day is a new day. So why would I need to mark one out as special when really all it is a marker is you're one step closer to the inevitable? It's inviting me to pick a side and trying to omit a fear, a dread of something that cannot be stopped. That would seem an awful waste of energy when there is so much more to appreciate in the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed, and it's maybe triggered or sparked something or inspired something in you, especially if you've been triggered. Say thank you, not to me, to yourself, that you've recognized that you have a trigger. That's your higher self. It's just saying, yeah, we got a problem here. There's internal conflict going on between what you think and what you believe and what the gut is really telling you. But I can't do that for you. Only you can do that. All I can do is say, look, there's a way you can go about this, or there's another way. That I will come on to in the next video. Do you want to read 66 books? Or would you rather look at 10 dramas that will give you as much as the 66? Not saying it takes any less time, but because it is art, I feel it is a far more enjoyable way to penetrate the deeper meanings of things and get the revelations, to be able to see the genesis, to see the plays all unfold. And coming from a single source that is authentic, not something that is quite vague, written by Moses or Isaiah, or well, what's it tell me about these people? How do I know what is true and what is not? How can I check the sources on that? Certainly what Jason on Archaics shows goes a long way to that, and I very much respect that. I think we'll leave that there now, and back to the day. We'll celebrate it as a day, as a Shah. We won't put any special significance onto it as such, except 22nd of May is the composer Richard Wagner's birthday, and to me, from my perspective, that's a good reason to celebrate that day a little bit more. And we'll do it probably by listening to one of his compositions, or even looking at some of his prose works. very revealing, which also goes a long way to explain why he has been demonized to some extent and has been attributed as being a catalyst to events in the 20th century, which is actually ridiculous because it's been corrupted, as is everything. The original meaning is being literalized, materializing, and in doing so gives you the very shallow surface level. But if you penetrate deeper, as much externally with that as going deeper inside yourself, you may start to have certain revelations and certain realizations go on inside you, which will go a long way to bring about world peace, shall we say. As always, unconditional love to you all.